Corner again. We are so glad you are with us for another week, for another opportunity to bring resources and information that can be life changing. Listen, I got my East Coast sister on tonight, y'all. She's doing some phenomenal work. I don't know about y'all, but I'd be excited to see my fellow sisters thrive and do well because guess what? It's enough in the water for all of us. Welcome to the show, Dr. April. I'm listening. You looking real fabulous. You got on a popping red lip. Come on,
Thank
that's how the married people keep it spicy now. Listen.
you.
Listen, I'm so glad that you all are on. Listen, enough about me. You can catch me on my website at crumenterprises.com. Those in the Chicagoland area, I have a new hot nonprofit development workshop coming in October, and we bringing it. Our nonprofits is going to a whole nother level for 2023. So you better register because this is my last one of the year. It's the last one of the year. Last one of the year. So listen, I'm just so glad that you are on and allowed me to have this interview with you. We had an opportunity to meet in person last year, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to navigate to stay connected with you because you do such great work. I mean, like your hands is in everything. Listen, tell the people what the good doctor. Wait a minute, the good doctor April is up to. Listen, that's an accomplishment. People don't know the work that
Ooh, you
goes into listen, paperwork, dissertations, 160-page documents. Listen, it's not for the faint at heart. Why everybody think when the doctors trip, sometime we trip, we do. We be upset you don't give us that doctor. We work hard for that, right? So what
right.
you been up to on the East Coast? Tell us
Oh,
what the good Dr. April been up to with the Del Soul Association.
yes, ma'am. Well, first of all, thank you so doing is amazing. You are definitely a trendsetter, and I really appreciate to come on here and tell the people a little bit about what I know. Del Sol Association. We are a nonprofit 501c3 in
Woo
Hampton,
woo.
Virginia. Yes, and we service people with disabilities. We specialize, excuse me, in day support, service, community engagement. And I always joke around. I say you will catch us in these shows. People might have developmental disabilities. They have every right to the same opportunity to care that you and I have. So we always out in these streets. That is designed to do. So and we are making waves here locally. We will have expansion.
Good. So, you mentioned something that a lot of people don't like to discuss, or it's uncomfortable to discuss the topic of developmental disabilities. And a lot of times, people are faced with bullying, especially at a young age. Some think, oh my goodness, they just can't make it. They can't function on their own. Not true. What are some of these myths that's out here that people are just not educated about?
Absolutely. I thank you for that too. Can do the same things that we do. They deserve the same quality that we have. They have every right to a relationship if they want to have it. They have every church conferences that we have. They have every right to get their hair done the way they want to get it done. They have every right to become parents and get marriage services in place for that. But of course, some of them may need some type of sure that they're making informed choices with their lives. But ultimately, it is there to support them however they say they need it. And so it can be an uncomfortable people to talk about, but we do need to have it and we need to have it more frequently.
We do. That's such a I always say a sensitive target group. What made you have such a passion for developmental delay disability?
Oh, I'm his legal guardian. I watched him from when I was a little girl, resides in a group home down in South Carolina. So I was always around it. I was to people with developmental disabilities. There's so many different types. Husband, my brother and sister-in-law, they're a set of twins, and they are both disability. And so my perspective shifted when I saw the amazing quality of life that she has. She is an amazing young man who used to get straight A's until he lost his focus on. So, people, there's the misconception not normal for them. But I mean, really, what is normal? And so our at Del Sol is to expose them to the greater community and expose the community. They do not need to be hidden. They need to go out and explore and experience life. We do, whether that be through employment, college opportunity list. I'm not even going to go down the list, but it's all about opportunity and exposure.
And that exposure is a key. I believe exposure is really, really key. I spoke to someone just a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't talked to them in a while, and their son had some developmental delays. And I did not know that many of the colleges have programs that are geared to support. A lot of times we don't know the resources that are out there. So we get a mom who may not know, but there are resources out there. They may still need to grow as any resource do. But I did not
Right.
know a lot of other colleges, one in Wisconsin in particular, have a whole department. I was just like, yes.
They do. Absolutely. By law, under the ADA, colleges hate. They don't have to just accommodate somebody if they're blind. That accommodation means accountability. And so I also personally, I don't like the term disability. I like differently able. They do things differently.
I like that. What's
This
the
means
term you like? What's the term you prefer?
differently abled.
Differently able. I like that. I like that.
And
Yes. Come on.
market.
Listen, we gonna fix that, honey. Differently able. I like that. I'm gonna use that.
Please do. Please do. Because
Yes.
disability negative connotation and assumptions that they can't do something. Even someone with a physical impairment. We've seen probably videos of people that don't have hand limbs and they get around life in a different way. So they are differently able to do.
You know what I always used to say? I have a family member I always say, that you are just uniquely designed. And now that is the name, that is the name of their business. Uniquely designed, right?
I
And I
love
have a friend,
that.
he has a wheelchair organization here, and they do basketball. They like the NBA.
Oh,
And
yes,
I
it
have found in working, because I work with youth and young adults, I have found, and that just may be me, I may be biased, but I have found, I think that those that are differently able, their heart is at another level. It's at another,
Mhm.
it is something about their spirit. Their heart is just phenomenal. And I'm just
Yes, it
like,
is.
Lord, help my heart be pure like that. Just loving, be
Mhm.
like, oh my goodness, yes.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm a little jealous. Right? Because it's something that we're all, I would hope this longing to have a heart just as pure. And I think about Jamie Foxx's sister and when she got on the Grammys and broke it down. Do you hear me? She got down. I said, and listen, I got some able limbs, honey, that don't do that. But I was just so excited. I had tears of joy. It wasn't sadness. It was like, yes, you can get on and dance like Beyonce, honey. You
That's
just go right ahead on, okay?
right. And a lot of it is just pure identity. You know, a lot of
Yes,
their identity, they accept who they are, and they come into agreement with who they're designed to be, and they don't have that fear of walking into it because they don't know anything else.
that's it. And we got a whole bunch of issues. We need a therapy
Mm-hmm.
session, and I don't know who I am, and identity. The Lord done told you one way, and we going totally left. No,
That's it.
yes. What would be some tips that you would give a parent that has a differently able kid? And I know that it is multiple kinds, multiple um differentiates, difference. What's the word I'm looking for? Different.
It's just different diagnosis, different
Different
levels.
diagnosis. Yeah, so it could be all types of levels.
Mm-hmm.
What is something tangible that you can share with parents that
Mm-hmm.
may be dealing with this, or are learning about it, or becoming more educated about it?
That is great. What I would definitely say when it comes to certain developmental, you need to go ahead and start researching services, researching what is to start is at the school. If you find or experience pushback, go to the district office. They should have liaisons. I know every state is in other states that I've worked in. There should be liaisons at the district office. You in the right direction regarding services that you may think your child might need. Um, Also get familiar with, and you might want to put this in HCBS waiver services. Those are the home services waivers. And, and what those are, but it's a federal program. And the reason it's called a waiver is it's simply waive requirements for your loved one with developmental disabilities so that they reimburse services and you don't have to pay a dime out of pocket.
It's a federal program, HCBS waivers.
Yes,
Mm.
HCBS waivers, and that's community based services waivers.
Wow, wow.
Start getting,
And it's free.
yeah, in childhood, early childhood. And what this is my former case manager in me. I am thoroughly a bridge to receive when it comes to this lane. And so what happens is they're taken care of once they are in a waiver. The only barrier is if you move out, have to start over and comply with the new state's regulations.
Okay. You just you just said something that pricked my heart. That's probably why I really love you. It's something about that social work background. We
Mhm.
handle things a lot different than others. Cause I always say, baby, if it's not documented, it don't make sense in my world.
that's that's right. It happened.
That part, I will paper trail you and paper whip you, baby.
Yes,
Not pencil. I will paper whip. Listen.
that's
And I just encouraged a young lady that's new to social work to document everything. It's okay, just document. It takes some steps that you have to do. But listen, shout out to the social workers that's doing it right and
right.
doing it for the people and focus. Because hear me when I tell you, social work is not a money for a job for you to become a millionaire. Your
No,
heart and passion definitely have to be in that place. All of the other abundance will come from the Lord.
it sure
Believe it. So those are some good resources because most people may not even know that those exist. You even mentioned something about early childhood. So I know
yes,
that sometimes it's hard to even when you go into the districts to get it for a child at a certain age. Like sometimes they have some age restrictions or things of that nature. Is there a testing process or an assessment process?
There is testing for the developmental disability to determine, the level of cognitive ability and functioning. They will dig into all the pediatrician's office, but most services can begin as early intervention. It depends on what the providers offer a parent, but there are options out there. I can't stress researching enough. And provider of one particular service and you're not happy, you still have options.
That's it. And like you say, with the researching, I also know that some colleges have a department in
Mm-hmm.
which you are able to get some assistance. Now, I did a couple of people seen the Facebook post, so I had three people that had a couple of questions. So I'm going to
Okay.
toss them out there. Um, one of them was surrounded around epilepsy.
Okay.
That's one to to swallow. She said, how do you handle that even now? She has a son that's in his 30s.
Okay.
Never, I don't think he ever worked or anything of that nature. What could be some resources that she could explore to give him a little bit more independence about himself?
So it's more of a physical disorder, and it is unfortunately, and this is me being transparent, many states fail many physical disabilities.
Mm.
Um, so because epilepsy is one of those physical disabilities, he is his options other than what may be at the local DSS office or can get Social Security benefits. But as far as quality of life and his not diagnosed with a developmental disability, then he would not qualify. I was just speaking about
Right,
epilepsy, one of those sticky ones. And again, it's with blindness. We forget that that is a physical than a developmental delay if it did not happen during the developmental stages.
right, right. That part, and that's what a lot of us are uneducated on. I hadn't, until you just said it, I hadn't even thought about it as from a physical perspective. And I'm sure a lot
Mm-hmm.
of other people have also hadn't even thought about that. And it is some resources for those programs. When you mentioned the DSS, find out what your Department of Social Services, Department of Social Security, the Department of Human Services, all of those would be where you would need to go in your local area to obtain the assistance that you would need. The Department of Social Security, Department of Human Services. Some states it's the Department of Rehabilitation, the Office of
Yes,
Rehabilitation. I know here in Illinois it's called Doors. So it's some information out there. Like Dr. April said, research, 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 right? So that we can definitely, stay informed and educated. What are some things you would give them to keep encouraged, right? Because after we research and read that computer, we go look cross-eyed, and now we have a physical. Right, because research can become overwhelming. So I like to say chew it at a time, chew it at a time, a little bit at a time. And I say to any parent, you are your child's best advocate.
yes,
You
yes,
are your baby's number one advocate, your number one cheerleader. You the number one. Listen, that's why they say mama, 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 mommy, mommy,
that's
mommy,
it.
because you need to know about your baby, and you have to be your baby's biggest, advocate. What is something
Right.
you would do to provide them with some encouragement?
Don't stop. That's my number one asking questions. You will get tired. As far as research, dog barking.
Listen, we respect the dog. He in agreement. He in agreement now.
Hush, girl. So, I'm sorry. The number one thing as when you're researching information, take a break, but don't give up and don't let too much time between, the gathering of information. Because so many laws and then legend guidance documents come out and things change on a regular basis that we're for something on Monday and then the law changed and then it changed by Friday and that person is no longer happened in the middle of a process. So does it happen often? No. Another thing is to start early. The earlier the better. Transition plan home. What do you want your child's life to look like, or what has he or she want out of life? Start thinking about those things around 9th grade, 10th grade list, especially again back to the CBS waiver services. There's a lot of wait lists, but CBS waiver services, earlier in childhood, there's even where parents can get a break. If you need to take a couple's getaway, care for your child for one night or 2 nights, there's respite and
It's
Medicaid
respite.
covers
It's
it.
respite. I used to be a respite worker. I know.
Know all about it. And
Yes.
that's what that is there for them. There's so many things that for children actually. Children actually
Yes.
kind of go under the radar when it comes to service of money just sitting there for kids with
Right.
developmental disabilities. Yeah.
The next person said ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough one because they're faced with a lot of medication and sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it does. Any information for those who have children with ADHD?
Absolutely. And I will say just a quick tidbit. I
Yes.
have 13 nieces and 9 of them were diagnosed with ADHD. And so common. Let's just start with that. So, but when it comes to services, difference in a developmental disability, meaning a developed milestone was not reason when it was supposed to have been met, versus a mental health diagnosis. D is a mental health diagnosis. It's on a different access, and life might look a little differently to him or her. But as far as access will start at the DSS office, but every state is different. Might call it in your state. I know in Virginia they call them the Community Services Board. New York, they go through the same thing, but it's called something different. So right now we might have a little bit of a need to translate. So it's kind of like the front door. You're saying, hey, I have this child that needs services. What do I do? So here in Virginia, Community Services Board, say, here's my child. We're in need. What do we do? And then navigator that helps them figure it out. So you try to see if they have that, and they're usually local.
Okay. A local department, a local community department
Yeah,
that can
it's
help
not
somebody.
DSS, right? It's not DSS should have a relationship with them. So you can go to
Okay.
DSS.
DHS will refer you to an agent, outside community agency that can help.
Yeah, you can even look it up. Like if you want to see what it looks like, it's called Community Service SB in Virginia. Just Google search that, get an idea of what that looks like. So you kind of putting in your state.
Okay. Great. Listen, I'm sure they are glad that they're getting this information. Someone
Me
question
too.
was, April, Dr. April, do you think they could be qualified for in-home supports, a DSP for the individual with epilepsy?
Yes. Were they diagnosed with the epilepsy? That would be the first question. Not that I need that answer. So it would have to have been diagnosed before the age of 21. So Yes.
And what is a DSP?
A direct support. The title and the work is somewhat equivalent to that of a CNA regarding
Okay.
ADLs.
Okay, so it's like a direct support person.
Yeah, they provide that's the worker. That is the specialist you see out or in the group homes with them. That's called a DSP.
Okay.
But
Okay.
second, if the person with epilepsy in need of at-home care, but does not qualify as far as it being a developmental disability, he or she can still get or some type of in-home service. Now that is through DS.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Oh, I'm excited. I'm so glad. I get excited when people are able to be educated on the elephant in the room, because some people are not, they're not fully educated on it. I mean, I deal with it in youth, but only to an extent. I have to refer out, but I will definitely find some resources. Listen, I will find me a Dr. April and be like, we need a podcast. Let me refer somebody to you, because we want you to be able to get the assistance that's needed. I would say to a parent for encouragement to never give up. Misty is on. Hey, Misty. She say never give up.
Oh,
Resources are out there. Explanation. Misty, I was trying to see how you were able to get in and be on here through. Girl, you teaching
I'm
me
gonna jump
something new.
in. Misty is. Let me big her up. Here is Misty is Del Sol's program manager, and she runs smoothly. The joy that is in this woman's heart, and how resourceful parents allow their loved ones, their family members in her care. They just big her up, but she is also a walking book of knowledge. She has a
Come
lot
on
of
here,
information.
Misty. Put your face on this screen, girl. Let us send you a
Pull
shout
her
out. Let me pull up. She trying to hide.
up.
Come on, Misty.
She started off as a direct support.
Lord, look at her. She don't want us to see her. You live, girl. She gonna get me.
I
Tell I won't be
remember,
in Virginia till next year.
but she is so good, and I'm so glad
Yes.
that she hopped.
She did. I would have made her go live. She hit her screen. She looked like she doing something else. Listen, keep going, Misty. Listen, keep encouraging the people. I would encourage to the parents to make time to pray with your kids, over your kids. That's not being deep. Just pray for your kids. Um, Also, speak daily affirmations with your kids. Even at infancy, you could speak those to your children. Speak that with them, learn together, all of that good stuff. Check them out. Hello, Kadir. Who is that? Somebody say, hey, we don't know who you are. How do that Dr. April and I know you? So, I definitely, affirmations are important. Let your children know that they are important. Let them know that they are fearfully and wonderfully made. Let them know they educated. Let them know you are smart. Let them develop their own about themselves, and encourage them to speak it out of their mouth. To speak. There go Misty. Stay there.
She
Don't
come,
move. Oh, I'm putting you on. Don't be putting your hand up. Oh, you on. Hey.
girl.
They, how are you? She said, I'm good. You muted. Now I'm reading lips. Look at me. Too much. We just wanted to put you on the screen because she just said all the wonderful work that you're doing to impact lives. Just wave at the people. I'm gonna take you off because I know you don't want to be. She like, thank you. Hurry up about it. So I would
But you
definitely
know what? Bringing her on very briefly, very quickly. uh, good direct support staff, whether they be a supervisor or a manager, a dozen, and so she is one of those rare ones. That's why I'm like, I had to bigger. Now, the workforce shortage, there's so many companies that are struggling and just
Yes.
coverage. I'm not. You have to have that heart, and handle services.
That's it, especially with something I say so precious. This is precious, and I always say it is definitely precious in God's sight when you take care of his people. But when you take care of his differently able people, I'm just convinced that there's a total another level of grace for it and an anointing for it. And my dear, you are definitely that. I am telling you, I am just, when I met you, I'm like, yes, this is it right here. Okay.
But
I am feeling it because everybody, you definitely have your target, and that's it, and it's definitely needed. And I can't wait to see what else you're gonna do from the north, south, east, and west with it because it is definitely needed. Just remember me and say, girl, get your plane ticket because I'm coming. I need to be in the room. Okay, I don't need you to pay. I'm gonna pay my own ticket and come. Because listen, when you know people doing great things, you need to be in the atmosphere with them. I am so glad that you have come on to educate the people. Listen, guys, you can find her on Facebook. It's on the screen. Keep up with her. She do morning inspirations. She giving you all kinds of challenges. Honey, she even slaying the people to lose 5 pounds. She just doing great things. Listen. And she not rolling with no busters over in Virginia either. I know some of her road dogs. She got one real powerful apostle, baby. Listen, let me get off before she get on and say something, because I'll be in trouble. I need her on the show. She needs to get on this podcast about the importance of this mental health with Insight Therapeutic. I am on her radar.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not playing. I told her she ain't getting rid of me. Y'all my family now. I'm coming. I need to be back over there. But thank you so much for joining the show. Before we wrap up, is it anything you want to say to the people?
Yes. Just jumping in again and piggybacking, encouraged. A lot of time, know what? Let me back up and keep it real. Grows and gets older and enters into young adult, and do not baby them. And I know that's hard. I know as a provider, I'm telling you, anybody as we get older, baby, that's it. So we might still see them as little children, we babies, but do not baby them because you're actually handicapping them more by doing so.
Yes.
So that's just a little tidbit of advice. You treat them other child. You do the same thing. You raise them the same way. Don't treat them differently. Expect that outside of those four walls of home. And that's just not life.
That's it. And on that note, we thank you for joining us on tonight for Lolita's Corner. Check us out next week. We got a powerful woman coming, and if all goes well, I'm putting it out there on the podcast. Apostle Ward better answer my email. I'm gonna find me a flight. I done said it now. I'm gonna get that admin on here because these are some powerful, powerful women doing great things on that East Coast in that territory. And listen, I'm all about that. Thank you so much. It's been a joy and an honor for you to be on. Many blessings to your business and the work that you definitely do, because you're doing more than just nonprofit, y'all. I just hit this area, but did you ever get that candle? Okay, stay on the line. Listen, guys, thanks for joining us. If you're in Chicago, sign up for the nonprofit developmental class. We love you. Keep up with Dr. April. You will see her. She is definitely on the Forbes Millionaires book list. Have a good evening. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.